A strong woman behind a strong man, she will make him a king. You cannot just take one component and then say that's the man. It just has to fit.
I know someone, I tell this person it's a female, and I say to
Yeah,
them, like, you're very attractive, you're beautiful, but you're going to go in and out of a relationship because you're always looking for the honeymoon period. And the
exactly.
friggin'
Yes,
honeymoon period ends.
it
You can
does.
have amazing sex, you can have an amazing relationship, but after 3 months, you're looking for the next uh, injection of,
Possibly, unless you're really in love with life and with yourself, then you can extend that period. Because what happens when we are in love?
but they're not with themselves. So what happens? They get bored, they find reasons to terminate, and then looking for the next honeymoon.
That can be possible if what you wanted wasn't what you really wanted in the first place.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's turn it around. I haven't even, I've got a list of questions. I haven't started with one yet. A man meets a confident woman on a date. Okay. How should they behave? I know you can't be specific and you can't be too general. How would they behave? Like, I remember I'm Iranian born, and on my first date in England, I bought this lady a bouquet of flowers, and I opened the doors for her, and she was like, "You're weird." People don't do that in England. So I was like, okay, then it's a cheap date. But I got educated not to do that because it was just creepy, right? But in Iran, this is what men do. And then a couple of months ago, we met some Brazilians, and he would pull the chair for his wife and do that. I was like, I should do that again because I hadn't done that for a while. I got coached out of it.
This is actually a big topic for a whole podcast itself, and I love that you address it because I think this is one of the negative side effects of feminism. There is a big difference between being feminine and being a feminist, and women became so independent, right? We don't need men anymore, financially, emotionally. We can really pretty much do everything ourselves. But is this really what we want? Is this really our nature? Like, it's sad that men get coached out of being a gentleman, right? Of bringing flowers, of paying on a first date, of just being themselves. Like, we have demasculated men in many ways. That's why men, especially when they see a confident woman, they don't know anymore what to do. What is right? What is wrong? If they do those beautiful things that you did, you get shamed for doing this.
Yes.
But this is actually natural.
I felt so good.
Yes.
I felt so good buying if I've seen a smile on her face when she saw those flowers. So
that can happen. That can happen. You can, even men, we don't give men enough credit nowadays. There is so much empowerment for women, but not so much for men. For men, there is a lot when it comes to personal development and career, but when it comes for them to being in their masculine, to also allow and incorporate and integrate their emotional self, then there is not much there.
I agree.
And so
And
men
we taught to speak to mates, speak to other men. I mean, what qualifies my friend to be the, what does he know about women? What does he know about relationships? Yeah, who's he being coached by since childhood?
Exactly, but men are also natural competitors. So even if men are in a circle with one another and they want to speak about issues, there is always this thought in the back of your mind: how will they perceive me? Am I going to be called, certain ways, like you're not a man up? These are the usual terms we throw around. Man up. And this is a very strong word. What does it even mean for each person to be, like for each man to be a man? What does it mean? Just because you are vulnerable doesn't make you any less of a man. Just because you love somebody and want to do something for them doesn't make you less of a man. That's actually your natural archetype.
I love that. Yeah, because I cry, yes,
Beautiful.
but I can fight battles. I can fight. I'm not trying to sell myself to the audience here. No, just like, and sometimes I'm criticized being a bit soft because I can cry or get emotional. Yeah, and I'm proud of the way this. When I speak to other men, and maybe I'm confronting them, and they hide.
Yes.
Yes, and I was like, be a man. Come on, confront me. Argue back. Don't hide. Don't block. Don't run. Yes, answer the question. Deal with it. And I don't know what's happened to the universe, but I really think as man's species go, there should be more men out there, right?
And there are, but it requires a man to be really conscious of himself, of his own masculinity, and of his own femininity, because both men and women have masculine and feminine polarities within them. So it is also beneficial for men to incorporate more their feminine essence, which is being vulnerable, allowing also their emotions to deal with, but in the same time go out there, fight, do what you want to do, because it is who you are.
I have 65 to 70% male audience. So my questions are male relevant. What we say would be the top 5 for our listeners to become alpha males or real secure males? What would the top 5 behaviors be?
Behaviors in terms of emotional behavior, or just...
You know, when you meet someone and you're thinking, okay, he knows, for instance, he knows what he wants in life.
Yeah.
Okay, he's focused. That's one behavior.
Yeah, okay.
That.
Goal-oriented.
Mhm.
Yeah. A man that is confident that exudes confidence. And when we talk about confidence, confidence stems from the Latin word confidere and means to trust. So in its basic
He
terms...
trusts in himself.
Yes.
Wow.
In its basic terms, confidence is the trust in yourself.
Wow.
So if you lack confidence, you lack that trust.
Does trust in yourself mean, like, for instance, you say, I'm going to exercise every day at 7 o'clock. You just do it.
You just do it, yes.
You don't do 7 and then 8 and then nothing and then another 7, because that doesn't show you are trusting in yourself, right?
Correct. But also being courageous in going after what you want in life. Because courage, again, stems from the French word le cœur, which is from the heart. Wow. So being courageous, trusting in yourself, being courageous equals confidence.
I love that.
It's like those 2 basic pillars, right? It requires trust to go after something unknown. It requires courage to do something you've never done. And even if you fail, which is just failure doesn't really exist, it's feedback, then you know you can handle a situation. You keep moving forward. You dust yourself off. So going back to your question of those five things, I would definitely say, yeah, confidence, focus. Your words have to match your actions. This is number one. You have to be a man of your words. Like, this is, for me personally, one of the most important things, whether it's in your private life, in your business, anywhere. Because how you are in private, usually you are in business as well. Wow. Right? Mm-hmm. Then also a man who can stand up to what he feels, who's not scared, who's not scared to do that. And a man who has humor and takes life with ease. A lot of men I meet nowadays, there's a lot of heaviness around them because you have so much responsibility.
It's right from as a child.
As a child already.
You have to support, you have to provide.
You have to support, you have to provide, you have to have your shit together. And if you don't, you are perceived a certain way. It creates a lot of pressure on men. So if you are struggling to actually have all of that, you feel like a loser.
And if you express yourself, you're a pussy.
Pretty much.
So just
take it.
It's so much suicide, isn't there, in men these days? It's increasing massively.
It's more in men. It's unfortunately more in men, yeah. Because exactly, they have never learned to deal with these emotions. And emotions are stuck somewhere in your body. And they can create disease, literally.
Yes, heart attacks, cancer.
That's why so many men die from heart attacks sooner as well.
So true. Yeah. I've already had one. 11 years ago.
Bless you.
Yeah, with stress. I was 15 kilos lighter than I am today. I was a semi-professional squash player and I had a heart attack in the gym. Wow. So it was stress. It was stress. So I'm blessed to be here.
We are all glad you are here.
You know, sometimes you need to have something like that for you to appreciate life. And they say, why are you smiling? I said, because I'm breathing.
Exactly.
Before that, I just took it for granted. You know, I had stents put in my heart and they were doing the surgery while I was watching it on television. And I was like, God, I'm not Superman.
Yeah.
Really, I could just see my heart this, and they were putting this balloon in there, and it was just fascinating, amazing.
It's amazing because, you know, we all know life is short. We all know that. Yes. But nobody really lives by it. And I can tell from my experience and from myself, people who have faced death, whether by them.
Faced death?
I did not, but my mom. So when...
Is she with us?
No more. But I was there. We were there during the process. So that's why I said...
That she didn't come back from. She unfortunately passed.
She was sick. She was sick for 2 years. She had leukemia and suddenly just was there. Nobody really knows how leukemia occurs. They do know the biological process somehow, but not the real reasons. And so I was her first donor for her first bone marrow transplant, but for the second because it came back. So during the process of her death, we were allowed, and they say souls usually don't allow others to be there when they pass on. Mm-hmm. Our mom did allow us. So
you have siblings?
Yes, I have a sister. Yes, so we were like all the closest.
She's a second donor.
She's a second donor. She's my younger one. Mm-hmm.
This donation, did it make your life last longer?
My life or hers?
Her life.
Hers, yes. I saved her life actually because it was so acute. They couldn't find a donor quick enough, and they tested a few of us in the family, but I was the one with the highest percentage. So luckily she was able to live a year longer, even longer than they expected. They gave her a life expectancy of 3-4 months.
Wow.
And it lasted a year, but then the cancer came back and she had a second donor, which was 100% donor.
Wow.
But that
It's
didn't
too
go,
late.
didn't
It's
go
gone
well.
too far.
There were like just complications. And so going back to the process, when you feel the soul leaving the body, you feel it, you don't see it physically, but I felt the air. It's like someone is blowing in my face, and we all had the same experience. Yes, and literally Dariush, her body was just 2 minutes after, like this table, stone. So you realize that this body of ours is literally nothing more than an avatar.
You really believe that? Yes, you've seen it, you've witnessed it.
I've witnessed it. I speak from my own experience, and maybe people who, like doctors or others who have experienced that can agree with me. I think it's hard for people who have never experienced that. But it changes everything. It changes.
Were you happy for her then when you felt the soul leave?
So much love, so much peace, so much just gratitude for her that she was my mom, so much happiness for her that she's released of the pain, that she's free, and that she can finally, live without all of that. And it's incredible how powerful the soul is. I truly believe that the soul is who we are eternally, and our facade changes with each lifetime. So
do you think the soul keeps coming back in different bodies?
My personal belief, yes.
We keep learning, we keep growing.
I don't believe we are here to just pay bills and die. That would be very sad.
The only sad thing is we leave some loved ones behind. We have to start all over again.
But if you look from it from a soul perspective, it's a bit easier to deal with it. My spirituality, my personal one, helped me really to deal with it. I'm not saying it wasn't hard. It was very hard. But it helps you to look at it from a different point of view.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long ago was this?
She passed 2017.
Wow. Recently.
Yes, not so long ago. So
God bless her soul.
Thank you.
I'm sure she's very proud, looking down on you, very, very proud of you. So.
I hope.
Do you know, being self-employed, and you are self-employed, you don't have a company, it's not easy.
No.
There's ups, there's downs, but the way you come across, again, your confidence oozes. It looks like nothing bothers you. Is that show?
No,
or how
nothing.
do you deal with it?
Nothing I do is show. I don't believe in this. I don't have time for showing. I don't have time for pretending to be someone I'm not. So I always say people either resonate with me or they don't. I wasn't born to please every single person on this planet, and nobody is. We shouldn't thrive for something like that. The reason why I am the way I am today is because after my mom's death, I started building up my coaching career. And going back home, I lost all my savings at that time. I had to build myself up literally on all levels. I split from my ex-fiancé. So can you imagine? Relationship gone, mother gone, money gone, everything gone. And you have to start from scratch.
Yes.
And you have to be on camera and pretend like your world is super good while it was crashing down. And and I had to do a lot of inner self-work, shadow work. I had to confront my own demons.
Yes.
And doing all of this has helped me to understand how powerful we are, that we can do really all of that. I mean, when people talk about the success stories, it's not just fluff. It really doesn't always take you to be on the ground to get out.
But you're quite private, so mine is more, more open because I have a company. But as a private person, you've got to have some internal conversations going on, right? You look in the mirror and you got to say, I'm proud of you.
I do that. I do that. You look, in life, you always have a choice. Are you going forward or are you going back? Where are you heading to? What do you want to achieve? What is your goal? And for me, it was never an option to go back.
Have you always been driven, or since 3 years ago you got more?
I've always been driven, but I didn't have the tools. I wasn't self-aware enough. I was easy, not manipulated by others, but put down by others, distracted. And also, growing up, my dad was a very strict Balkan man, like, stop dreaming, my daughter, you have to do this and this. My dreams were shut down a lot.
Is he still with us?
Yes, he is. He's awesome. But he was a strict Balkan dad. So I used to grow up with a lot of restrictions, and my fantasies were too wild for him because I never wanted what everyone else wanted in my age. I was always like outside the box. Yeah. Which he loved, but also didn't understand.
And he probably thought it was just a dream, right? He didn't think you would follow up, you would take action. So
Yes.
when he did, he was like, oh shit.
She's like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah.
It's normal because, your parents have certain ideas for your children, but your children have ideas for themselves. So it is a lot of work on yourself, but the more conscious you become, the harder lessons you even receive, it humbles you. I have become more humble than I ever was in my life through all of that.
I think through this podcast, you will definitely come across that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it, right? Before I was quite scared. before you
Really?
came. Yeah, I was like, she's going to walk all over me here and make
Oh
me look so.
no.
Yeah, seriously. So no, the Anita sitting in front of me is a really humble person, not the one I imagined that you'd come through. So thank you so much.
Thank you.